Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm in this 2010 Jaguar XKR. This is something of a favourite of mine. I love the XK in general, and the XKR in particular. And by chopping off the roof, it only gets better. Firstly, we've got to talk about the looks. I think it's drop dead gorgeous. Ian Callum, the guy that designed this car, deserves a knighthood just for producing something so beautiful. Don't forget, this is the man who brought us the DB7, the DB9, the Vanquish, the F-Type. So I think it's fair to say he knows a thing or two about making a pretty car. And the Jaguar XK is certainly that. The first generation XK from 96 to 06 had the whiff of the fuddy-duddy about it, but this second generation is definitely shaking that off. I mean, remember, this car's been around since 2006. I think it's growing old gracefully. I personally prefer the facelift versions from 2012. They got nicer LED headlamps. The whole thing just looks a little bit more contemporary. But really, I'm just splitting hairs. I think they're all stunning. I love that it just subtly oozes class without drawing everybody's attention to it in a crass way. It's like an expensive tailored suit. When the roof's up, it still looks good. This has got a fabric roof, so it fits a bit better. Some of those folding metal roofs can look a little bit awkward when the roof's in place. This doesn't. This is the fire-breathing R version, so you've got extra vents in the bonnet, it sits a little bit lower, the wheels are bigger, and they say supercharged on them, and the whole car is made to look a little bit more aggressive. But what's good is that they haven't overcooked it like a lot of the German manufacturers would. It's still retained its dignity. Moving inside the XK, it's a parts bin special. There's no other way of describing it. You've got bits of old Jag, bits of old Volvo, bits of old Ford. It's a Heinz 57, but what I can say is it's better than a sum of its parts. I remember doing a video with a white XKR a very long time ago, and I said exactly the same thing. But really, none of that matters. Yes, some aspects feel a bit cheap, such as the indicator stalks, but overall it kind of makes you like it even more. It feels like the underdog. And plus, if you weren't a car anorak, you'd never really know that it was done on the cheap. Not really. It's just some of the buttons and switches I can't unsee. My eyes are just drawn to them every time I get in the car. My own nerdiness has kind of ruined this car for me. Look, you get all the essentials. The seats are very comfortable. The steering wheel's stitched in nice soft leather. You get a centre armrest which slides out of the way, revealing 2 cup holders. You get folding mirrors, electrically adjustable seats, sat-nav, parking sensors. The seats are cooled and heated, as is the windscreen actually. Perfect for those frosty mornings. In fact, saying that, this rear-wheel drive XKR isn't the sort of car you'd want to drive on a frosty morning, is it? One more negative thing to mention is the infotainment system. As we progress and technology gets better and faster and more reliable, this really lags behind. All morning I found myself poking and prodding the glass, like a frustrated kid at an aquarium. It responds eventually, but you do have to have the patience of a saint. Okay, so we're approaching the bypass, and let's do the old XKR test. You ready? Foot to the floor. Oh yes, listen to that. And all of a sudden everything is in my rearview mirror. What a noise. That certainly cleaned off the barnacles, didn't it? This is exactly what this car's designed for. Take it out every weekend, give it a good thrashing, chew through some unleaded, and then park it back in your garage until next weekend. Oh, that is just addictive. The Jaguar XK is a 4-seater. Now, the 2 people up front will love it. There's plenty of space, plenty of headroom, plenty of leg room, plenty of elbow room. Lovely. Your rear 2 passengers won't be quite as thankful, especially if they're the needy, demanding kind, and they've got things like, I don't know, legs, arms, a head. It's really only suitable for luggage. Still, I'd rather have the space back there than not, like an F-Type. Moving back further still, the boot isn't a bad size. It's not as practical as the coupe, obviously, because the roof has got to fold back into it, but it's still not bad. You'll fit your weekend luggage in there without a doubt. As you might expect from a 5-litre supercharged V8, it's quick. Properly quick. The Jaguar XK was only sold as an automatic, and this particular model uses this old-fashioned 6-speed auto with a torque converter. So it's perfect for cruising around in. It uses this rotary dial as a gear selector like you get on a Range Rover, which I'm not a huge fan of. The early models, pre-2009, from 06 to 09, use the old-fashioned J-gate gear selector, which I actually prefer. On later models from 2012 onwards, the 6-speed was done away with in favour of a new 8-speed, which is much better. And on a motorway run, you'll get an extra couple of miles per gallon from it. Anyway, it changes gear quick enough, unless of course you're coming out of a much later twin clutch box, in which case you might be disappointed. Early XKRs came with a 400 horsepower 4.2 litre V8, but in 2009 that was upgraded to this 5 litre supercharged unit, which produces just over 500, so it's a huge upgrade. It's a terrific engine this, it's really characterful, and the noise it makes will just excite the child within you. It's perfectly quiet when driven sensibly, but it turns into a lion when provoked. It growls. Actually, I don't know why I said lion there. Surely Jaguar would have been a better fit. Jaguar. The steering is a little bit on the light side, but overall it shouldn't leave you feeling disappointed. It's still a fun car to drive, this. One thing to mention though with this convertible version is the ride. It's a little bit skittish. I wasn't expecting that. I should have been, of course, because if you lob the roof off anything, it's going to lose some rigidity. But it's been a while since I've driven something with such pronounced... Oh, Cullinan. I love those. But it's been a while since I've driven something with such pronounced scuttle shake. It doesn't ruin the car though, not by any means. Like I said at the start of this video, by lobbing the roof off this car, it kind of enhances everything. You can hear the exhaust note more clearly. You get the wind in your hair. It's just more theatrical. I think it's prettier and fun. And who'd say no to something that's pretty and fun? In terms of running costs, you'll get 16 miles per gallon round town and 30 or so on a motorway run. So it isn't awful. And really, this is the kind of car that you're only going to use at the weekend. So you'll fill the tank and it'll probably last you the best part of a month. Unfortunately, the road tax here in the UK is in the highest bracket. This will set you back £630 a year. But on the bright side, insurance shouldn't be silly. After reading through the comments on my old XKR video, there were many owners on there who told me that they were only paying £200, £300, £400 a year for insurance. So it's quite reasonable, really. Jaguar stopped making the XK in 2015, which I think was a bit premature. They could have easily got another 4 or 5 years out of this car with just a mild facelift, and perhaps the interior from the F-Type. The F-Type really ought to have a bigger sibling, for those who want a slightly bigger car with a softer ride. Anyway, what do I know? If you're looking at buying one, then watch out for corrosion. I know what you're about to say. They're aluminium, Matt, they don't rust. I beg to differ. I've had loads of modern era aluminium Jags, and over time the paint starts to lift and it bubbles. And then the whole car needs to be repainted. It's odd, but it's quite a common issue, so do check out for that. But apart from that, they're quite reliable cars. There are many people out there, many of whom will have never owned a Jaguar, who will insist that they're the most unreliable cars on the planet. But that isn't the case. I'm really not making that up either. It's quite simple technology. If you're unlucky, you might have the supercharger fail on you, but they're not that expensive to replace. You might have the odd broken door latch or broken window regulator, but there shouldn't be any eye-watering bills. If I had unlimited funds and unlimited space, I'd definitely have an XKR Convertible in my collection. Yes, there are things that annoy me, such as the fact that a lot of the buttons are buried within this touchscreen rather than having physical buttons. But no car's perfect, and the XKR's flaws almost make it feel more human. From the moment I picked this up from the garage, I've just had a smile on my face. And that's what this car's all about. If you're thinking about buying one, then I just wouldn't hesitate. It's the kind of car you buy with your heart, not your head. I love it. Well, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any comments or questions, let me know below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you're thinking of getting into the used car business, then check out my online course. I've made an online platform with nearly 100 videos which explain every single process of the used car business. From where to start, funding options, branding, sourcing cars, preparing cars for sale, it's all there. So do check it out. So yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.